Santiago is the best place. The first day, you're crossing the Pyrenees into Spain. You'll be a bit out of breath. I'm not sure you'll have the biggest conversation on that portion, but then it winds down and wants you to interact with other people, locals, whoever, have fun, meet people. Everybody has a story. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. So I'm pleased to talk to you about the Camino De Santiago tonight. What I just said about the Camino is that, this session is for you, okay? I've been on the Camino over 20 times, different routes. I've cycled parts of it. I've walked a lot of parts of it, etc. So I would have a pretty good understanding of what it entails. So I want to talk to you about the Camino and about the most popular routes and show you some imagery to see what you can expect, the travel, and a bit of information on logistic, packing, etc. Camino de Santiago, I will start with a short video.
Every road has a traveler. Every journey has a beginning, a middle, an end. And every adventure offers revelation. Join the discovery. One path, one road, one camino. Infinite experiences. Buen camino.
This is just a short video to show you a bit what you will see. Now we're going to cover a bit of history about the Camino. And I like this piece because I appreciate that everybody is a hiker, but the Camino has this thing special, that it is set in history. It is set in history in the sense that the Camino de Santiago means the way of Saint James. Saint James, who was a son of Zebedee, who was basically one of the apostles. And he was very close to Jesus, and he was preaching the word of Jesus around Europe, up to the northwest of Spain. And when he came back to Jerusalem in 44 AD, he was beheaded by King Herod. Okay, so the legend then starts where his remains were put on a stone boat and they were sailed out on the Mediterranean seas, and that somehow his remains sank off the shore of Galicia, or northwest of Spain, but that it was saved and brought back onto the shore by scallop shells. All right? So a lot of allegory, a lot of history in that. From that point, his remains were lost until in 820, there is a monk called Pelayo who saw starlights in the hills of Galicia, and they pointed out at the remains of Saint James. So this is why they built Santiago, which in Spanish means Saint James, Santiago. De Compostela. Compostela means the fields of star, which is basically field of star that show them the way to Santiago. After some checking and verification by the local archbishop, the remains were identified as the remains of Saint James. And from then, the first pilgrimage, the original way, was done by the King of Asturia in about the year 1000. Why is it important? It's because the finding of the remains of Santiago at the time was the start of La Reconquista. Santiago, Saint James, is also portrayed often as El Matamor. Mata in Spanish, the killer, and Moros, Moors, the Muslim, who at the time, the Arabs, were in control of the whole Spanish peninsula. So it's a way as well for Christian basically to find a stronghold in that place and to promote the pilgrimage to Santiago to reconquer that part of Spain. And you can see that by 1080, the whole northwest of Spain is reconquered, and little by little, the whole of Spain is taken back. Okay, so just to show how religion, geopolitics, nothing new, right? So Very interesting. Today, the Camino is more and more popular, but it's concentrating on specific routes just because of there is a network of routes, but we, for example, operate only these 9 routes. I'm saying only, it's already 4,000 kilometers of trail, so plenty to have fresh air, blisters, and all the rest. So last year, 430,000 people reached Santiago, which doesn't include people who walked on the Camino but didn't reach Santiago. These are pilgrim offices number. So one of you, I think, started and finished in Leon. That person would not have been counted in these numbers. And we're expecting a record number again this year and so on. Most people do the Camino on foot, and a few people go there cycling. And I will touch base on cycling a bit later. Okay, and you can see the breakdown of the routes. The most popular, 50%, are the French way, the yellow line. And it's called the French way not because it is in France, but because the first guidebook ever written, the Codex Calixtinus in the 12th century, was written by a French churchman. So it was then called the French way. And he was describing the journey to Santiago de Compostela, and it followed that yellow line. After that, you've got other routes such as the Via de la Plata from Seville, which is the longest and least popular, just because there's not as much infrastructure. It's also a lot hotter there, or the Portuguese way, English way, you name it, there are a good few routes. Today, the most popular routes, usually people do not have 1 month, 2 months to complete their pilgrimage or their walk. So people might come from 1 week most of the time. So they would try to start 1 week away from Santiago to complete their pilgrimage within that week. So you would have the section 8 of the French way, which starts in Sarria to Santiago. One of you is doing that, I think, in June. And then you've got all of these sections going there. I will go from, I will talk about the 3 main routes, Sarria to Santiago, Tui to Santiago on the traditional Portuguese way, and a new route, which is the Portuguese coastal way from Oia. And just so that you are wondering, when you are starting close enough from Santiago, Santiago Airport is the best place to fly into. Porto is not too bad either, and then you can fly into Madrid and get connections. But Santiago is usually best. If you're starting in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, which is the start of the French way, Biarritz is much better. Or Paris, and then you take a TGV high-speed train, Bayonne and Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. It's a pilgrimage. You can do it for religious reason or not. That's up to you. But you can get your pilgrim certificate. Couple of conditions, all right? You need to walk 100 kilometers into Santiago. That's the main option. Most people do that. Or cycle or horse ride 200 kilometers into Santiago. So it doesn't matter how much you walk. So the person, for example, who walked from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to Leon wouldn't qualify. If they were to take a train to Santiago, they wouldn't qualify for the pilgrim certificate. That's okay, because the person is going to come back to finish the road. Okay? So that's the great thing. And how do you qualify to get your pilgrim certificate? You get stamps along the way in cafes, in accommodations as well. So this is something that becomes gimmicky and fun. You know, you collect them. And one thing to take note as well is if you are walking from Sarria to Santiago, the pilgrim office asks you for 2 stamps a day. Don't worry, you've got plenty of opportunities to get stamps. And this is how it looks. You have your details, and it brings back great memories, you know, of where, do you remember that place, and so on. So it's a cool feature. We provide the official pilgrim passport as part of the package. So this is something that we do for you. And you can collect as many or as little stamps as you want and get your pilgrim certificate. I'm going to start by going through, okay? I'm just mindful that we're talking about a lot of different routes, etc. I'm going to talk about the French way, and I'm going to go through it. So it starts, as I said earlier, in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, which is this spot, the French border. It's called the French way, but the first day you're crossing the Pyrenees into Spain. The first day is challenging, okay? You've got 1,300 meters ascent. So that's a long, long day. We can split it, or there's a shuttle that can make you do it in 2 days. But then it winds down and towards hills, etc. We've highlighted here the bigger towns, okay? They are bigger. There is a direct connection to an international airport from all of these. And these are some of the sceneries that you may come across, such as Puente de Arena or the Bridge of the Queen, which is a lovely town, and it's an iconic place along the Camino de Santiago. After you touch the Basque region, you will enter the Plateau de la Meseta, which is a 800 meters high plateau, which is more rolling hill, if not flat. While it might sound easy because it's flatter, you have to be mindful that it can be more challenging in the sense that there is less shade, okay? Also, there is a bit more boredom because it's that flat and you can see where you're going to be in 2 hours ahead of you. So crossing the Pyrenees will be on the more challenging side. And then there is crossing the Leon Mountains near the village of Ocebrero. So that's 2/3 of the way on the full French way, which is 35 walking days. And here you come back to more mountainous things, but no danger. You're on walking trails and it's well signposted. And that's only for a few days, 2-3 days, okay? Other things you will see on the Camino de Santiago are nice features, good fun. You may have seen some of these pictures in blog articles, videos, whatever you've seen, such as La Fontana dei Racce, which is basically an access to wine. The other side of that wall and fountain, you have a winery, and they're giving access to wine for free to pilgrims. Now, there are opening hours, and to be honest, when you pass by there on the usual stages, you get there by 10:30. So you shouldn't have an opportunity to have so much wine, but it's a nice thing to do. And there are two types. One is for wine and one is for water. And that's another place on the right-hand side. It is a Gaudi architecture place in Astorga. So there is a good amount of typical architectural points. These are also things you're going to see all along the way, signposting. On the French way, the Portuguese way, the signposting is very well done, okay? If you're on roads that are less traveled, it can be a bit more challenging, but it's still fine. Because these are arrows everywhere, on lampposts, on the curbs, on walls, so that if at some stage you're hesitating, it tells you where to go. And sometimes you have some funny things, like this top arrow Cassi, you're almost there. Now, you may be 400 kilometers from Santiago, but you're almost there. Some sites as well you will have are the backpacks. So part of the packages that 57 Hours is offering through us include the luggage transfer, which means that you will not be carrying the big backpack. Now, if you guys are going there with a backpack, I would recommend to have 10% of your body weight max in weight, etc. If you're taking a package through 57 Hours, then you don't have to worry too much in the sense that we will carry one piece of luggage from stop to stop. Another iconic place, Cruz de Ferro, which has these small hill of stones, where basically pilgrims will carry a stone or more, which is a symbol of their worries or their pains. 10% of body weight maximum, 7-10 kilos max. I wouldn't go any higher than that. So the Cruz de Ferro, so people would drop their worries along the way, okay? So that you leave them behind you. So it's very symbolical, it's a good place. And then you will come across lots of different things, you know. You're 220 kilometers from Santiago, 5,000 from Jerusalem, whatever else from somewhere else. So just to remind you that you are in this place in the middle. And yeah, this is Ponferrada, so there is a bit of history. The Camino, when you're walking the Camino or such a trail, do not expect to take pictures every 5 minutes of an iconic place. You're walking. And as you're walking, obviously, in between iconic places, you have nothing or nature, all right? So it's just something to bear in mind. And you have cool stuff, all sort of things that pilgrims put along the way. Before I continue on that, I will just mention cycling, walking difference quickly. Walking, for me, is a better option because walking allows you for time for yourself, time to talk to the people next to you. When you're cycling, it is a different experience. So things I would say about cycling, and sorry if I don't go too much into cycling later on, but do not go for a cycling because you think you're going to see more. If you're not a cyclist and you've never been 4-5 hours on a saddle, do not go for 1 week, 5 hours a day on a saddle trip. You will not enjoy it most likely. If you're a cyclist and you're ready for that, then you can do it. But you have to be careful that in walking and on the Camino, the more is not necessarily the better. Okay, the experience is what is important. And usually on cycling, you do 2 walking stages. A walking stage is usually 20-24 kilometers. cycling would be at 50, 60 kilometers. Let me talk to you about our guided tours, the ones that we will be offering through 57 hours. We call them Make Friends for Life. And that's for a reason. It's because when you're walking for a few hours a day with people, not that you're stuck together, but you get to know each other, right? You get to have nice conversations, some tougher conversation, you get things out of your chest. So it's really something. What is great is that you always meet people that they have their own stories, their own worries, but in that moment, we are together. It's not easier for anyone. It's challenging for everybody. Our guides, our main guides, we've got Francisco here. So he's showing you a group. The group is bigger. Our guided tours are up to 14 people. Okay, so they're nice size. This is a special charity group that we've organized. But your guide will have a briefing with you the night before. To tell you tomorrow, this is where we're going to meet. There is a cafe at kilometer 8 on your map, etc., so that you know what to expect. So we've got Francisco here, and we've got Sylvia here in the middle with the hat. So our guides are cool. They've got their own experience. These guys, they're on the Camino during the season all the time, right? So they're cool people. This picture was taken in Pontevedra by the church. That was one morning. I don't think we'll get that much energy out of the group by 4 p.m., you know. You might find people around a glass of wine or something. Two guided tours that we'll have, the two main ones, will be the French way from Sarria to Santiago, which one of you is going already in June, I think. So we have the following departures that you can take with one of the dates, which is a woman-only trip. The French way is the busiest part, and you can see the gradient there. So you're walking 20, 24 kilometers a day, something like that. So from Sarria to Puerto Marin to Palace, you've got 2 climbs each morning. The climbs are 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. So I know that on the graph, I'm trying to squeeze in 115 kilometers in so much space. But basically, it's just nice walk uphill, maybe 7%, 10%. You'll be a bit out of breath. I'm not sure you'll have the biggest conversation on that portion. But then it winds down and comes downhill. Now, mind that walking sometimes downhill is more challenging than the uphill for some people, so just have that in mind. And then it winds down Palas to Melide, Melide to Arzua, Arzua to Rua, and Rua to Santiago. Sarria is a small town, maybe 70,000 inhabitants. The rest of the towns along the way, they are not above 10,000 inhabitants. So just to tell you that you will be in rural Spain, Galicia, with towns, with shops, with bars, etc., but not the massive. You will not find a shopping mall along the way, right? Until you reach Santiago. That's the terrain you should expect. And so dirt tracks, because it's rural and Galicia is quite spread out, you will walk on tarmac quite a bit as well, just because the way the making of the villages are, they are spread out, hamlets. So do expect that. Now on the French way, this is a common vision you will have. It is busy, all right? It's good fun. You have a bar, cafe every 3-5 kilometers, so no issue for toilet break or to have a bit of fun, and you'll meet people from all around the world. But one thing to be aware of is that it is on the busier side. Advantage of that is you don't have to think too much about where to go. Sometimes you will be in nature, but you're never too far from a road, in the sense that, you know, pilgrims over the years have taken the shortest way to go from A to B to C. And obviously, advent of cars, etc., the civil engineering followed the same tracks more or less, you know. It's very handy. These are just some of the places you'll come across. If you arrive in Puerto Marin, Puerto Marin is a village that was built on the side of the river, and which 70 years ago was rebuilt completely higher up because there was a dam being built upstream. You can see, for example, this church of Puerto Marin, where you can get a stamp as well. When you go to the inside, you've got all of the stone number for that purpose. Other site that you will see along the way, there will be this kind of, they're corn granaries. So they're here to hit the corn for livestock or for personal use. And obviously it's also a sign of social wealth or wealth. So you see different ones. Other thing you will see again, you will see more and more some symbols. Maybe somebody passed away at some stage in that place, and some people are dropping a stone, a card, whatever. The Camino is our collective, I don't know if it's a possession, but we borrow it. And so you're entitled to do things like this after. I'm not a big fan of the shoes and the dumping, but it has happened. And then you get towards Santiago. You will meet two massive statues of pilgrims. You will be 5 kilometers away from Santiago in a place called Monte do Gozo. You can see the cathedral for the first time at that stage. And let me show you the arrival in Santiago. Sometimes on the Camino, Galicia can be wet as well, so it's important to be aware and ready for that. What I would say is if you're going for a week, check the weather before you go and see if it's going to be very sunny the whole time or if there is clouds. Depending on that, you can change a tiny bit your kit, more rain gear or layers. This to show you as well that there are some ways up as well, and it's the same for everybody, whether you're cycling or walking, you're all the same path. But you can keep a smile, okay? So here we are only a few kilometers from the Camino. Poncho, Gore-Tex jacket, I don't know. We'll talk about gears later, but yeah. And these are some of the cafes that you stop by. So with your group will say, let's meet at kilometer 12 at this cafe and kilometer 17, okay? You don't have to be there, but you let the guy know where you are. And this when you rest, you eat, you even drink a Guinness if you want. And yeah, you can take a lot of pictures and then you arrive. That's a bit of helpfulness, a pilgrim helping another pilgrim with their laces. And this is the arrival, which is good fun, no? Emotions, you've traveled for 115 kilometers together. So yeah, wasn't easy. And some people ask, is the Camino for everybody? And I would say so, no matter what, you can be fit, you can be less fit. There is no discrimination unless you've got a specific medical condition. I've worked with people with pacemakers. I've worked with a quite heavy lady who had a triple heart surgery, and she was in her 60s, 65. She was slow. She got there, So that's just a view of the cathedral when you reach there. That was this picture was done when they were cleaning the cathedral. So the cathedral now has been cleaned completely. So the scaffolding is gone, obviously. It is much brighter. And I like this picture because you can see the lady there and the two people lying down looking up the cathedral. So it's pretty cool. I'm going to talk to you now about the Portuguese Coastal Way. We have a couple of departures this year again on now. And we have one date as well, women only. So the Portuguese Coastal Way, it is similar type of a landscape, hilly, greenish with eucalyptus trees, forest, pine trees. But the first 2 days are along the coast. Okay, so I'm just saying that because the first 2 days are along the coast to Vigo. Then we have a short transfer to Redondela, where we merge with the Portuguese traditional way. And then you continue on. This is Oia, the first town. And you can see here an hotel. That's the hotel we usually stay in. That is right in the middle. And for the first 2 days, you are along the coast. That's Bayona. Your hotel is right behind you, 50 meters. You can see the hotel on the left-hand side, left corner. And here we have a group going in the morning, happy out on boardwalks. There is a bit of walk along the beach or on the beach, but they are short. On the beach, it's 200 meters here and there. Short. The rest is more on tarmac road, boardwalk, cycling lanes as well. But it's a lovely view. For me, it's my favorite section. My favorite week on the Camino would be along the Portuguese Coastal Way. And then as you merge with the Portuguese traditional way, you become, it's more nature, more dirt tracks, lusher, greener. Okay. And you can see here how Galicia is well spread. You've got little hamlets here and there on top of collines, on of hills, everywhere. So it's pretty cool. Sometimes along the way, you'll find some normal cafes. Sometimes you'll find some cool place. Here, it's a retired gentleman who uses his front garden as a cafe, and you stop there and have a glass of wine, maybe a bottle of wine. So there are cool places like this, and as you will get there, you will go to these places and you have your own pictures. That's Caldas de Rey, which is 2 days before you reach Santiago. And there is a cafe. We like to stop people after the bridge. That's your arrival for the day. It's short, actually. It's 21 kilometers. So 3 kilometers up the road, there is an ice cream van. Don't miss that one. And at the arrival, you can have a drink and wait for your fellow walkers that will walk via this bridge. You can cheer them up, etc. And after that, behind that cafe, there is a natural hot spring, which brings water to two small fountains. One of them is this lavatory, which was traditionally used by locals to wash clothes. So this is where you can see the shape of the stone, which was basically a washing board, okay, which is granite. Okay, so it's pretty cool. The water is at maybe 38, 40 degrees. It's a nice place to relax. And let me show you. So this is just to show you the landscape in a bit more vivid fashion, boardwalks. So walking poles, no walking poles, up to you. If you're doing 1 week on the last 100 kilometers. So we have Tia Goperia, who's taken a bath in the hot spring. Good woman, Tia. So walking poles are not necessary because we don't have so much rocks and harsh terrain. But if you try them, like them, bring them on, okay? Up to you. You see that most people are walking with light backpacks. That's what you would expect, okay? And you see the walking poles sometimes, boardwalks, they're not very useful. So during the day, you should have a small backpack with a bottle of water. This is what these guys have. That's the landscape. The signage, we've got the scallop as a sign, the arrows, all of these. Groups start together in the morning, but you spread out during the day. And you will see that as you gain experience after a couple of days on the Camino, you'll get the gist and you'll take a bit more freedom. And we like to have people not just to stay with the group. The guide will not stay with the group, and it's not a city tour, okay? So you spread and you meet, it's a bit like a caterpillar more so. And we want you to interact with other people, locals, whoever. Just have fun, meet people. Everybody has a story. One of the questions I think was, does the cycling route follows the same as the walking route? It does. It depends on the cycling skills of the person, because sometimes you may have some rough terrain, so you need to be able to handle it as well. Okay, so it depends on your level, but you will feel comfortable on the road when you are there and with the cycling notes as well. So you can see that's the arrival of the cathedral, whatever. You'll have your photo and the statue of St. James at the top. It's pretty cool. Santiago de Compostela, it's a lovely city. The historical quarter is lovely. It's a very cultural city. It's a cultural black hole or sun, whatever, in the intensity side of things, The cathedral has been built in several stages, so the architecture has some inconsistency, just because they built a church, then they built a cathedral, then they extended it, and so on. But it is lovely. When you arrive on the cathedral, we like to let people chill there for a few minutes, whatever. So sit down, just take it in. The whole point is not to run to your hotel right away. I don't think so anyway. There is mass every day indeed. There's one at 12 and one at 7 every day. However, there is only an English mass on Friday evening at 7 o'clock in one of the altars. So, there are some things like this. Some stuff that you might want to do might be the rooftop, the cathedral rooftops visit, which is an hour long, which is quite nice as well. Gives you a different view. And in Santiago, you may have seen online, So St. James is there. One of the traditions is also to pass by the altar and to give a hug to St. James. You've made it all the way to pay tribute to Saint James. So you can give him a hug, and you can see the person there behind it. So if you have a queue system, and you just go there, give Saint James a hug, and continue on. You also have the remains of Saint James, which are in a box. So yeah. What to expect from our travels? Connect with nature. Okay, it's pretty cool. Make friends for life. I don't know if you guys have ever walked with a group, etc. But when you're walking, the Camino is easy. So you get a chance to talk with everybody, and you talk for a couple of hours with that person. Then at the coffee break, you swap chat partner, whatever. It's pretty cool. Good food, good local food. So I'm not sure who likes seafood, but Galicia is famous for its seafood. And the octopus, pulpo a la plancha, which is octopus with olive oil, salt, and a bit of paprika, prawns, little scallops, and ham as well, of course. But also cheese and cured stuff. On all of our guided tours now, we have one vegetarian meal. We are trying to make everything sustainable. We are very climate conscious. All of our trips are, the carbon of each customer's trip is offset, okay, with projects in Uganda and India. But we want also to raise awareness about eating vegetarian. So one meal vegetarian. That scares you? Just talk to your guide and say, look, that night I want meat and I need my animal protein, and that's very fine. But we just want to raise awareness. The reason why we did that is one day I arrived with a group in Finisterre, and the restaurant my group was a vegetarian. And when I looked at the menu, I had a panic attack and I wanted to leave, and I wanted to find a burger or something like this. And then I said, hold on a second, how silly is that? You're not going to eat with them because of meat. So I tried a vegetarian salad. You know what? I survived. So since then, I've tried to lower my animal protein intake, and we survive. And fat is still there, So anyway, it's just a bit of awareness raising thing. Accommodation wise, all of our tours are 2- and 3-star accommodation. It depends what there is available. You cannot have 3-star all the way. It just the Camino doesn't have that. Also, with groups, we might not be able to use each accommodation. We try to use a mix of hotels usually, and sometimes also a rural house like this one at the bottom, Casa de Acivro, which is a lovely place. I know the owner for the past 15 years. So at first he refurbished his family farm, and now he's extended with these new rooms or self-catering stuff. So they all have ensuite bathrooms, so no issue with that, and etc. We will give you a training plan as well. We will do a training plan as well. And the training plan basically means get out, walk once a week, twice a week, every day, I don't know, but try to get out and build up. If you're a regular walker and hiker and you regularly walk 5 hours, you'll have no problem on the Camino. If you've never walked for more than a couple of hours, or maybe you've done it once when you were a teenager, years ago, maybe try to build that up. And do that easily. Get off the bus 2 stops before you reach home. When you get the bread or the milk, maybe go walking instead of taking the car. Do things like this. We tend to do what's easiest, and sometimes we have to force ourselves for exertion. And I find that having a goal, I'm getting the bread, I'm getting the milk, and walking, you have a nice time. You walk for an hour, 2 hours. There's no rush, and that will build your resilience. Walking is not difficult physically, usually on these type of trails, as you have seen on the videos, but it's mentally which is difficult. You get tired after a few days, and you may get a blister or two if you haven't broken in your shoes properly, or if you force too much the first couple of days. So there are things like this. It might rain, it might be windy, it might be hot. So all of these things means that you need to train. And don't train just when it's nice and sunny. Go and train when it's rainy. You get used to mental exercise, guys. We'll also give you a kit list, which basically tells you whether you're with our guided tours, you will get the luggage transferred, so you can go for the left list. And this is a good list. I pack less than that myself, but been there. And we tell you how many pairs of shoes or not. This is indicative. If you're going in winter, you might add some warm layer. If you're in summer, maybe you can scrap a few things as well. Okay? Indicative, but it's a good guideline. Always have a rain jacket, whether it's a small one or not. Now, if you don't bring one because the weather forecast is great for the week you're going and there is a drizzle, it's fine, you will survive. So the luggage transfer is maximum 20 kilos. And on your backpack, when you're going to one of our guided tours, you should have a small backpack with a bottle of water, your camera, sunscreen, maybe a snack just in case, but it should be 3 kilos. I would always walk with half a liter of water in these places. Let me share this moment on why walk the Camino with Sylvia.
What is this uniqueness how would you describe it to people who've never done the Camino?
It's, I guess it's the walking, all the walking that you do, the nature, our culture here in Spain, how our groups, how we get together and you make friends for a lifetime. Sometimes, normally you go back home after walking the Camino with new friends that are gonna be there for you forever. I've seen that. It's not, it doesn't happen all the time, but I've seen that a lot. And even for us as a guide, we sometimes become very good friends with some of our clients in the groups. It's amazing. I've never seen anything like that before anywhere else.
Very good. Yourself, Sylvia, would you say that the Camino for people will bring this friendship amongst people in the group?
Yeah, I think making an effort together always joins us. It's a good bondage, and I think that's actually the big part of it, because it is a mystery to me why people will fly from Australia or other areas of the world to walk the Camino and come back and come back. And I think, I'm not sure, it's one of the mysteries about the Camino, but I think the people, the other pilgrims, the experience of going through it together, doing it with joy, doing it laughing, doing it with freedom, and that's what creates a good bondage. The other pilgrims that come from all over the world, the energy that we create by walking this thing, that could be it. I'm not even sure what makes this Camino magic. It is magic.
So this is from our guides. We meet a lot of people. I've worked with a 76 years old lady who are kicking ass of the youngsters. I've worked with teenagers. I've worked with anybody, and the look doesn't make the walker. The ground makes it. So we will have a couple of tours of 57 hours. We'll send you the links so that you can check availability and hopefully book your seat. We'd love to see you on the Camino and you to meet us, some of our guides. So just a quick reminder. So we have chosen the routes for you: selected hotel, luggage transfer, holiday park, and support. We're here. We have a 24/7 hours service support. We help planning and all of the tips and so on. We give you all the pilgrim certificate, luggage tag, small neck buff. We provide walking notes and maps as well. I'll show you that later on. Mobile app as well, so that you've got the trail, your accommodation. So you're a triangle, you've got the trail. If you're on the trail, fine. If you're off the trail, go back onto the trail. The triangle should go back onto the trail. Just things like this, okay? And that's it. And so whether it's on your wish list, one of your dreams for 2023 or 2025, whatever, get planning. It's okay. And you'll get there. There is nothing to fear. You get there and you have great fun. It's a great trip, great destination. You'll make friends. Go for it.